the big question mark for parents is after school what?
Yeah.
And that question mark is really huge.
Yeah.
Especially when the child is on the spectrum or, has a lot of support needs.
How do you give that agency to your child without feeling the need to intervene or interfere?
The reality is that they're going to go out into the world beyond us. They're going to have a life beyond us.
Just because you have a neurodiverse child does not mean that they need to be protected all their lives.
So I have never, for example, shied away from talking about death because death is very much a part of life.
Hello and a very warm welcome to this special podcast series called The Seat at the Table, presented by Jai Vakil. I'm Mukta. I'm a mother to a 15-year-old autistic, beautiful boy. And a lot of my activism is also to find answers to perhaps a more inclusive world, a more independent life for him. And when I meet change makers like Sushma Nagarkar here, it is a lottery for me because I don't just get to speak to her for you, but also for myself. A little introduction. Sushma is the founder director of Yash Charitable Trust. It's been doing some wonderful work. It works with adults. ये मैं ज़्यादा emphasis इसलिए डाल रही हूँ क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ जितना भी इंटरवेंशन है वो बच्चों के लिए बहुत है. लेकिन एडल्ट्स जो हैं जो 18 साल के बाद जब वो स्कूल की एज से बाहर हो जाते हैं, जब उनको किसी उनको एक इंक्लूसिव दायरा नहीं मिलता है, एंड दैट्स व्हेन वी लुक फॉर ऑप्शंस फॉर देम टू थ्राइव इन लाइफ. And Sushma has been working for the last so many years, and today's discussion is about adults, young adults on the spectrum. We talk about neurodiversity and we talk about invisible disabilities. So Sushma, first of all, thank you so much for all the wonderful work that you do.
Thank you for having me.
And my first question will be, why did you decide to work with adults?
That's where the rubber hits the road, Mukta. I mean, there are schools and schools and more schools. There's a lot of intervention and good quality intervention, actually, that's happening at the school level. But it's the big question mark for parents is after school what?
Yeah.
And that question mark is really huge.
Yeah.
Especially when the child is on the spectrum or, has a lot of support needs.
Yeah.
And therefore, we wanted to fill this gap, at least try and address the gap and close it a little bit. And so we decided to work only with adults.
What were the challenges, or what are still the challenges that come your way?
So, the challenges are on multiple levels. The first level is when the child, and I'm going to call them actually it's an adult, when the adult comes to us, they come to us with experiences that have more often than not been of an exclusionary nature.
Yeah.
They've either been in special schools or they've dropped out of school and been at home a lot and just haven't had any avenues to think about what a fulfilling adult life might look like.
Right.
And parents come because they want their child just to be kept busy oftentimes.
Yeah.
And so it's like, my child needs to go somewhere because he needs to have something to do. Our whole focus or our whole philosophy at YCT is it's not about having something to do. It's about using the strengths of the child, the strengths of the adult, to help him lead a fulfilling adult life. And so ours is a strength-based approach, very much so. And so we take a lot of time getting to know the person. We take a lot of time trying various options that we have based on the strengths that person is demonstrating. And we want to give the person the right to decide whether this is going to work or not. And if it doesn't work for whatever reason, we give them the opportunity to move on somewhere else. And we want that for them if that's what they decide. And we give them resources to do so.
It's an interesting age that we talk about because till 10, 12, the child is supposedly in a parent's control. By the time they are hitting teenage, they start to develop an agency of their own, whether neurotypical or neurodiverse.
Absolutely.
And as I said, I'm learning the hard way with a 15-year-old boy that, he wants to have control now. And that has given me a early heads up on the importance of choice. Have I gotten it all sorted? Hell not. Every day is a struggle in unlearning कि अच्छा ठीक है इनको choice देनी है. But sometimes you feel that either they're not capable of making that choice. Sometimes you're overprotective. Sometimes you feel you know the best about this, right? And as any other parent, I think वो over involvement उनकी decision making में हमारा होता है. Neurodiversity, when we talk about, it's a different ball game. So this is a tip I'm asking for myself and for others. How do you give that agency to your child without feeling the need to intervene or interfere?
Yeah. And the need to intervene or the need to overprotect is coming from a space of worry.
Yeah.
It's coming from a space of anxiety.
Yeah.
I think what we have to decide for ourselves is what level of anxiety, what level of worry are we comfortable with?
Right.
And in what avenues can we start giving them control over their own lives or responsibility over their own lives and figure those pieces out for ourselves? Because, I might preach to you like till the cows come home that you need to give them agency, you need to give them choice. It's the right thing to do.
Right.
Ultimately, it has to work for the family.
Yeah.
There's no point in the parents having sleepless nights. Oh, have I given him too much choice? Oh, what's going to happen if he goes out late at night? Oh, blah, blah, will he find his way home? This, that, and the other. So we start off by not only giving them a choice, but giving them a choice that's controlled, within a controlled situation, right? And then being comfortable, but there's also an element of teaching. So we need our children ultimately to be safe. So we have to also teach them how to be safe, which a lot of neurotypical kids as well as adults have never learned because we've not taught them that. But the reality is that they're going to go out into the world beyond us. They're going to have a life beyond us.
Right.
And, if we sort of work backwards from what that life might look like, we start working on that skill building very young and early on. And simple things in Mumbai, for example, like crossing the road.
Right.
Simple things for verbal children is like pick up the phone. Who do I call if I need help?
Yeah.
Having conversations on the phone with somebody that can come and help you out of a problem situation. Those are skills that we can start very early on, depending on each situation.
Yeah. I think one of the messages that every parent should take home is that just because you have a neurodiverse child does not mean that they need to be protected all their lives, because like neuroplasticity works on brain for other skills, this aspect of their brain and life development can also happen if you give them enough and more choices, if you create enough and more situations where they are allowed to make those choices.
Exactly.
Right?
And the confidence to do it.
One of the things that I always feel, scared about is what after me? And that is a question that I think every parent always asks themselves. लेकिन किसी के पास उसको बैठकर एड्रेस करने का टाइम नहीं होता है क्योंकि बहुत घबराहट होती है. You're scared to, put that question on the table. And then also you have so many other things that are happening on a day-to-day level that needs handling that, वो पीछे छूट जाता है सवाल. But what is the right age to start planning for the future? And when we are looking at a future, now there are a lot of options available, community living, assisted living. But say if somebody wants to prepare their child to decide between the two, how does that process start?
Yeah. So there's a lot of questions
I know.
there. I'm going to try and answer.
I ramble on as well because it's so personal. But yes.
So it's very clear, Mugdha, that from about the age of 10 to 12, one has to start exploring options for adulthood. And when I say options for adulthood, it is more in terms of giving the child opportunities to explore different interests, see what the motivation is for each of those interests. If they're verbal, fine, they're going to tell you. And if they're non-verbal, then we just watch
Yeah.
behaviors and try and understand what is it that excites my child and what can possibly be maybe a career path, maybe an entrepreneurship of some kind, it may be employment, it may be none of those. It may be just volunteering somewhere and just being happy doing that
Yeah.
if the family has the wherewithal to do it.
Right.
So all of those exploratory kind of things have to start between 10 and 12. That's recommended. After that, along with that rather, it's also choice giving or self-determination as we would call it, is not only an adult activity. It starts even as young as you go to McDonald's. That's not a good example. Maybe you go to a banana leaf or something like that. What would you like to eat on the menu?
McDonald's does fine.
So McDonald's
Yeah.
is easier. What would you like to eat on the menu? Self-determination at that level is about
Yes.
making the choice of what I want to eat.
Yes, I remember
Right.
I taught Madhav patience to stand in the queue using
There
that
you go.
example.
There you go. There you go.
कि
So
कुछ मिलेगा तुमको तुम्हारी पसंद की चीज मिलने वाली
Right.
but you have to wait for it and
Right.
follow the rules. Yeah.
again, it is even when we're dressing for our school or whatever, what shirt, letting them choose their clothes within limits, whatever those limits are that the parent sets. That's when self-determination really starts, is in those day-to-day activities. We make 2 sabjis for dinner, for example. Which one would you want? As a parent, you want them to eat both, but, both are equally nutritious. So let him make his own choice about that. And that's when the process of giving them agency actually starts in these day-to-day natural situations. And alongside with those and developing skills of being able to manage independently are very important. And then having conversations depending on what that child's level of understanding, cognitive ability is about the future. So I have never, for example, shied away from talking about death because death is very much a part of life. And so from very early on, Aarti's been exposed to, in situations where there has been somebody close who's passed, of this is the continuum of life. And it's okay. And she's been able to understand that. And therefore now she's at an age, or other adults we deal with, they're at an age where we have to consider this, like what are the options going forward. So each individual family, it's going to be a little bit different. And really parents have to sort of figure out what would be the best time to talk about this. We don't want to enhance anxiety.
Yeah.
What we want to do is portray it in a very realistic, practical manner. The other reason for thinking about these things early, Mugdha, is unfortunately the way our systems are here, there's no help from the government or anything like that. So we have to financially plan for these eventualities. And that is a very important piece of it. We have to financially plan not only for the living arrangements, we also have to plan for future medical options. Hopefully, things are good, but
Absolutely.
you never know.
COVID.
You never. Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. So therefore, thinking about, and it's not about making decisions. It's about planfully thinking about these things. As to, all children are going to become adults, whether neurodiverse or not. All children are going to want to live happy adult
There is
lives.
a cycle of life that everybody goes through.
And so having conversations, it's a pragmatic way of, recognizing this. Sexuality, intimacy, all of these things are things that we have to discuss. We have to keep our children safe, even in those, areas of relationships. It's not true that kids with autism don't want relationships.
Yeah.
By the same token, they have to be safe through their relationships. So, it really, really depends on the family situation.
Do you also work with caregivers?
We do. We work a lot with families, and what we have found is that there's a reticence, there's a hesitation to think beyond. And that's what we're trying to change. It's a very hard process because parents don't want to have to take those decisions. A lot of times it's Bhagwan dekhega, dekha jayega, uska bhai sambhalega. I don't think it's fair to the brother. I really don't think, unless the brother
burden of
wants,
blood is
yeah.
yeah.
And so we do a lot of work. We give them information. We share. I share often my own story with Aarti. Not as a way of this is the right thing to do, but the fact is that she's chosen this, and this is what, therefore, we're working towards her being able to live independently because that's what she wants. Ultimately, she may have to live in an assisted living. Who knows? But at least for now, she's got the agency and the choice to decide which direction her life will be.
Having worked with so many young adults and, of course, older people on the spectrum, when we talk about community living and not a community that is only made by those like them, when we talk about inclusive community living, do you perhaps see that happening? Have things changed in any way in the last few years to suggest that this can be a very good option for young adults with moderate needs, say on the spectrum? And if one has to think of that world, then what needs to be in place?
Unfortunately, with the preponderance or there's just been many institutional kinds of conversations happening everywhere. And that breaks my heart, really, because I don't know that the adults have any choice in those. That's why it breaks my heart. Not if they were deciding, this is our community, this is how we're going to design it, this is what we're going to do there. That's a whole different, sort of set of, that would work, maybe, because they choose to do that. It's like someone living on a college campus with a whole bunch of friends, right? So, but that's not the case. Here it's parents getting together saying, my child needs X, Y, Z, and this is what. So there's a lot of those happening right now. Again, I'm not anti them, but the adult has to have a say in them. Skills to be enhanced to the optimum level that they can. But again, finding, for example, a like-minded person to live with, a like-minded family where the cultural connect may be there, then setting up support systems together. Those are the kinds of things that have to happen. We're hoping YCT sometime in the near future will do a pilot project of this, because that's what we believe is the best case scenario. There's a lot of work that has to go into it, but it's something that we passionately believe needs to be tried. I don't know of any place where it's currently being tried yet. There may be, I just don't know about them. But there's a lot of movement towards institutional, which bothers me. I mean, not for any other reason. If the child is got, some sense of...
the project that you're talking about, can you talk about it, or is it in a stage where you're developing it? And
we're philosophically wanting to do it. We are trying to identify spaces where how we can, and then we have to talk to the families, because this is again very different from anything a family might have envisaged. So for Aarti, for example, this is the trajectory, and for me it's the most commonsensical thing to do for her. But she may want to live with a roommate. And so therefore, the roommate, the support needs, the work, all of those things we need to put together.
Right.
But I do believe that we want to do it, and we want to at least pilot it to see how it will work.
Well, more power to you for that. And I hope the pilot comes out soon so that parents like me have hope and a community to come together and make the pilot a success. Because I, again, with my son being at 15, I also am struggling to find those options. And I'm not sure if the institutional way that you speak about is the right one. But yes, for now, giving more agency to your children right from a very young age, I think, is the great way to start to build a foundation of decision making that even a neurodiverse individual can take on their own. But thank you so much. This was a pleasure.
Welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank you.